Live at Agribition, the all-new SpotsCage. Don't forget, book your holiday party at the Canadian Brewhouse today, your ultimate destination for events, parties, fundraisers, and more. 'Tis the season to celebrate. Book now in-store or at thecanadianbrewhouse.com. If you're watching the stream, you see him. We got him live and in person because he's down here working. Former Saskatchewan Roughrider, absolute beauty. Lakeview Insurance.
Oh, yes.
Scott Schultz making his way. Okay, so let's start it off with, if people are watching the stream, you just said, what was the comment that you're trying to get in here and get the
well,
chair?
We're getting everything sorted and organized, and once everything was good enough, I gave the old comments like socks on a rooster. And my dad used to say that to me whenever, we were trying to get something accomplished, and it turned out looking like garbage. That's what he would say. Looks like socks on a rooster, Scotty.
I'm just like picturing socks on a rooster, obviously, right?
You got to hike them up and make do.
Start with Agribition and Lakeview Insurance. You're down here grinding all day. Was it been good though?
Grinding, yeah. I've been grinding since Monday. We put up the old booth on Sunday, and yeah, it's been wild. Just so much kids, so many clients that we deal with are up here. So it's not so much that we're doing business. It's just being present and getting a chance just to have a good old chinwag with our clients.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's funny, right? It's like lots of news in the CFL. We had the Grey Cup game. First off, the Grey Cup game, where it was like at 1 point 17 points and down to 10, and what an underdog story. Nick Arbuckle, classic CFL Grey Cup game, right? Where it's like, oh, they won.
Yeah, and good on him for being able to seize the moment and all that. But nobody wants Toronto with more championships. I think, what do they got? Like 15, 16, 17?
Clubhouse leader.
Can they break us off a couple? Can we borrow a couple? It's just, it's ridiculous that they have that many. So I don't really care about that. I'm excited about all the scuttlebutt about the movement and what's doing in the West and all that kind of good stuff.
Which one intrigues you the most?
Oh, that quarterback that went to Calgary is going to be something else.
You think so?
I like him. Vernon, I've always liked him. When he's been able to, spread his wings like a peacock and fly, he does a good old job. It's just, can he settle in there? I heard him speaking. He's got an affinity for Dave Dickinson. Dickinson actually stopped in to his university when he was in college, and so having that awareness and about Dave and that kind of an affinity for the coach, I think it's going to be a good fit.
Sorry, Scott, I'll jump in here on Barney, but I've been debating my brother all day on this. So, right, everyone, we just beat him. We just beat him.
Yep.
But you know what? To ultimately win that prize, you need to take risk. You're in the risk business.
Oh, we're in the risk management business.
Do you know any business that makes any hay without taking any risk?
Well, listen.
No. You got to take a risk. And VA is a high risk, high reward type of a guy. That's the way I look at it.
Well, and it is. And it's just like when everyone knew that Caleros had to move on from here, someone took a risk on him, and then Toronto took that risk, and then he passed along even down further to Winnipeg, and then it paid dividends, right? And so you just never know. And then you look at his situation. He's particularly healthy. He's not over the hill, and I think you get these guys in a new situation, a new town, and you start winning. Things start to happen, and engagement with the fans. I think it's going to be a good situation.
Does he remind you, like, there's been guys this week and girls that they're talking, it's like, oh, he reminds me of a Damon Allen, he reminds me of this, reminds me of that. Does he remind you of anything? Because for me, it's like, okay, now is he getting the chance to run with it? Yeah, he did in BC early in the season. I would have liked to see him continue through the year and how the tape, how the book of work looked there. Does he remind you of anyone, Scott?
I would say maybe just hints of Casey Printers, just because of the mobility side of things. But I'm with you. It's that risk thing that I'm excited about, and looking at what if that would have played out, and what would it have looked like, and then wear and tear on the body. How does that factor in all the rest of it? So I think that he's got enough tools in his toolbox that, you know, he can perplex a lot of teams and put pressure on teams. So it's just a matter of what is Calgary going to do to surround and shore up, you know, kind of the, you know, bad seasons that they've had the last couple of years.
Were you surprised that the Riders didn't kick tires on him?
You know,
nothing against Herod. We love Herod. He's done a great job.
I'm not surprised, but I would imagine at some level there was some kind of an engagement there. It just wasn't top of mind or pushed out there to the public. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would imagine that, you know, there was, you know, even if it was just a passing comment in the hallway, what do you think of, you know, no, you know, it's VA, no, I don't know.
Stall, next stall.
Right?
Hey,
Give me the spray. But the thing of it is, you know, they're always, everyone's looking at everyone. Everyone, you know, the Riders would have had it in their mind a long time ago if they had interest or not, and obviously they don't, and they're going in the direction they're going. And I think that's just fine. I mean, you look at our team and the way we're going, it's all looking good.
Oh, it's interesting.
The biggest thing, well, I mean, you look at Calgary now and you go, okay, they didn't make the playoffs for the first time in like 20 some years or whatever. And so what are they doing? They let go of the coordinators basically before they got back into the dressing room after the last game. They signed PJ Walker late in the season. They went aggressively, got VA, didn't wait around, right? Are bringing him in, getting him in the building. They look like a team that's trying to win.
Yes.
That's the concern I have is, in my eyes, we don't look like a team trying to get better. Now, I don't know. It's you and I don't know what's going on back in the offices here across the parking lot. Obviously, they're all working to try and be better. Yeah. But just the attitude shift that a VA brings to that Calgary club, you know, is going to be important for them. And you know, I still think they're right. Like we had a fun year this year.
Yeah,
we're like the fourth best team. We haven't been to the Grey Cup in 10 years. Like we need that next step. Yeah. Where are we going to get that from?
Well, and you know, I don't think it's a scenario where they're just sitting back at the Rider headquarters there, leaning back in their chairs with a lot of navel gazing. You know, I think that they're up to stuff. I think they're doing things. Jeremy O'Day has always kept things close to his chest. So whether we think he's doing great or taking a vacation, he's always at work. He's always doing something. But it's result based, right? And so, what's our last result? Well, we lost in the Western Final, right? And so, you know, that's some pretty big expectations for the team in the next season, going like, well, we made the playoffs, we made it to the Western Final. That next hump is making it to the big game. And if we did it last year, why can't we do it going forward? And all of those conversations that we're going to have leading up to spring training.
Do you know, back maybe in your career, guys you played against or coached with, do you know anyone that's in the running for the Edmonton Elks job? And do you have any, you know, but do you have any opinion one way or the way who the Elks are going to go with?
I don't know who they're going to go with. There's a lot of talk of
Mark Kellum.
Yeah. And I don't mind. I don't care who they go with, because I mean, it's the evil empire, but I understand what they're doing. Like they're bringing in some of their old players. They're bringing in some guys that cared about the team, that were inserted in that community, and they're trying to bring back that old Eskimo mentality, albeit, you know, being the, you know, what are they, the Elks? I almost forgot there on the spot. But I see what they're doing, and I like that. I like, you know, it as much as I hate it, pains me to say it. That mentality worked in Winnipeg a number of years ago, and look where it's gotten them. 5 trips to the Cup. I think they've won 2. You know, it's one of those deals. So I recognize what they're doing, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out in the season.
I think too, the West this year had a down year. The East, I think, was much better than, you know, we kind of have this idea that the West teams are better. The thing that I'm looking at now in this offseason and going, okay, BC's definitely not happy. They get rid of their coach. They jettison VA right away. Yep. They're going to go full bore with Rourke. You've got Edmonton doing what they're doing, changing the culture, We got Calgary doing the same thing. We're going to do everything. And then over in Winnipeg today, they're letting it drop that we might go all in and go over the salary cap in order to win the Grey Cup at home next year. And so you've got...
They probably should.
right? You've got all these teams. Like the Riders got to keep up. Like,
I don't see them going 6 in a
that.
row to the Cup. Just saying. But I mean, I'll gamble and I'll throw those dice on that. But the Riders did it. I mean, we did it in 13 where they pulled out all the stops, and it is what it is. I mean, when it's bumper crops and you can afford those overages, throw caution to the wind and get it done.
Do you know Cody Fajardo at all?
I don't know him. I know of him.
Yeah. What do you think he's thinking right now with, they're going to go Davis Alexander, the competitor in him, probably a lot like any football player. DA and I were talking about it, though. There's only so many places where he can go, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to go anywhere and be a starter. Do you stay in Montreal and kind of be that guy behind the scenes in case, or do you say, no, I'm good. I'm going to cash in my chips using gamble analogies and go somewhere else?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He's complaining or whining about it to somebody. I mean, his feelings are hurt. He's one of those guys.
He's offended. You might as well use offended.
He's offended. I mean, this is someone didn't tell him it was a business. But that's fine.
His parents are calling.
That's right. His parents have been in deep conversations with the GM. I don't know what's happening with our young gentleman here. They're trying to figure it out. But I don't have sympathy, but I get it. I mean, those guys that can't figure it out. But I mean, if I'm him, you swallow hard. You take that humility pill and you find your best landing spot and you go there and try to rip the ass out of whoever's there.
Yeah.
And that could be from the second string position. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think back to a guy by Kurt Warner did that. Remember when he wouldn't make problems and he was doing the best he could there with Eli Manning. In New York, right?
Yes.
And then what happened? All of a sudden something happens, and now you're ready to go because that's what a veteran can do. I think if he can get his Christian mind around those concepts, I think he can really do something. But it's up to him. It's pride cometh before the fall.
And he's just full of quotes, eh? Socks on a rooster. I might get that on a SpotsCage t-shirt though, Schultz. But the thing, and Sharky and I talked about this yesterday. Like, I'm trying to think going back a long time ago. There's never been a time where you need two quarterbacks in this league.
Right.
Oh, look at Arbuckle. I mean, to your point, if he probably had an emotional reaction, which I think you outlined quite well.
Of course.
And now he's got to sit back and go, what do I want to, because we talked about this earlier. There's rumors, whatever you want to call them, that he told the team at the beginning of this year he wanted to play for 2 more years.
Yes, I heard that.
So he's got 1 year left.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to play or do you want to win?
Right.
Or do you want to coach?
Yeah.
And you got to put yourself in the best situation then, because maybe winning is picking Toronto if Arbuckle packs him in. Like, there was rumors he was going to pack him in, go to Toronto and maybe you step in and win the Grey Cup.
This guy's 11 months away from manning a booth at Agribition. So you got to start thinking about it. You want to come to the real world where it's real, where we play for keeps, Barney? We play for keeps out here at Agribition, or do you want to play another? You want to have another cushy year, soaking up the dollars of the CFL quarterback fund. I mean,
there's no private charters in the Agribition booth.
There's none. I mean, I got here on a golf cart. Then I walked a mile, and I still had to fight about 30 kids to get in my booth. So
it's like a washing machine walking through that.
It is. I mean, I thought I was in the A gap. I was getting grinded up down there. I'm getting chucked. I'm getting jived. I'm getting shoved. I'm getting pardon me. I got kids asking me if they've seen their teacher. I don't know what's going on. But that's what I mean. And so I don't have a lot of sympathy because I mean we're in the real world. I've been in the player's role and seen that. So he's got to get himself squared away and figure out what does he want to do. To your guys' points, what do you want to do? Do you want to win? Do you want to teach? Do you want to be that backup guy? Do you want to play a couple more years? The competitor, I would hope that he finds a competitive position where he can be that number 2 guy who's ready to go, like in Edmonton, and then you never know. And then you get another fairy tale deal like you had in Montreal.
How does it work? Look, kind of give us the old, I say it every show, look behind the curtain here. So now this free agency, and I think it's February 2nd, where you can't talk to anyone allegedly.
Right. And
then it's kind of your full. How does it work? So, and most guys, are they there's a family come into it a lot, right?
Yeah.
There's travels comes into it a lot.
Well,
different things. How does that all go?
I'll tell you a little sneaky thing that I was able to accomplish in my years. And J.O. probably won't like me saying this, but he actually got me onto this. I was negotiating when I first started negotiating. It was my second contract with Roy Shivers. And I went in there and J.O. gave me the idea, hey, break up your contract. Get some of it in January and then get the rest of it during the season. So then the way my contract was split, I got like 60% January 1st. So if they wanted to ever move on from the old Schultz dog, I would have known in December. And so I've got the most time to deal. And then I'm in the season, I'm playing for peanuts because I've already made all the dollars back in January. So it doesn't really factor into that. A lot of guys used to get their bonuses like in March. Well, February is free agency.
You're not committed.
Exactly. So these guys are all, waiting on a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 payment in March, and then poof, they're gone in free agency. So a lot of guys have fallen to the wayside like that. And I was lucky enough to be able to get that in my contract. So, there is some of that stuff. I mean, you got to be a smart Saskatchewan boy to root out those ideas. But,
I think you could actually hear J.O. from across the parking lot yelling,
shut up! It's the way it goes. I mean, it's, hey, if I can help out these young guys, you help.
J.O., long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yeah. Hey. He's like, I never said nothing.
Can you get that Schultz guy out
It was someone said it in the locker room.
Yeah.
Someone, maybe it was Andrew Green.
No, but is there a free agent that you're like the Riders like we need to get this guy, or is it?
Actually, it's funny. Some of us older guys, and again, we're so far removed from actual playing. Like we do have that inside knowledge, but the game is crazy right now. I mean, how much it's grown and the athletes.
Yeah.
It's just like what I miss is like, where's all these new finds? Like, where's the shiny little diamonds that are out there? It seems like there's a lot more done in that rewash of players with the free agency and picking guys up from other teams. And so, I always get excited about the no-name guys, the guy that's in a high passing conference, some quarterback, and they get him and all of a sudden he's the next star.
Yeah. Villanova State.
Right. Yeah.
They had a team.
Well, Eastern Washington, like all those guys that came out of that conference.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it here. You got your ring on. People should come by the booth and see it.
Oh, yeah, shine it up. Anyone who wants to try it on, take a picture, come on and say hi. We'll see if we can get down those rates for you.
What's the booth number? Do you know?
Booth 668, Lakeview Insurance.
Just stop by. The code word to get the ring is socks on a rooster.
or pocket dog.
Doesn't that thing smell good? Wait till they start firing here.
What if I pulled a pocket dog out of my pocket right now? That would be a very Schultz-esque thing.
Yeah. Thanks for coming by, man.
Not a problem, guys.
Always a pleasure. We're streaming live at Scott Schultz. We are at Agribition and streaming at SpotsCage.com.